All right, guys. So Jackie Chan has declared another state of emergency. Now, will we participate? It says, just as Christ said, these are the beginning of the days of sorrow. War, rumors of war, pestilence, earthquakes, famine. Okay. China declares state of emergency as epidemic overwhelms hospitals and crematoriums with the new gotcha bug. Okay, with the new gotcha, we got you. We got you again. We're going to try to get you again. So that's what this is, the new gotcha. And we're going to replay this like Sanford and Son, to where you know all the the actors' words, word for word. You know every punchline. You know the movement of the actor. You know how when they getting ready to pick up the phone, and you know when the crowd getting ready to react, because you've seen these reruns, right? And that's what they're counting on, is that a lot of people will be waiting on the rerun because a lot of them are already wearing the face diaper. They've already went back to that. So again, now we have a whole lot of things cooking in the pot, just as Christ said they would be cooking, and they are. Okay, um, this is the reason why the evacuation is at nigh as near to us we are, because when you look at what they're trying to impose, and then we're pushing another, well, it's the same thing, agenda as it's always been. They just repackaged it. But what's tripped out is they're trying to replay this this sitcom all over again with China. This is the same way it began, and they're trying to replay it, and they're showing you all these different videos of how ill everybody is, and oh my God. By now, people should have wake. Well, how do I say woke or awake? People should be alert by now. Let's forget both of those words. People ought to be alert of what's getting ready to happen. Okay, so we are. The drones leave. Now we got fog everywhere. People sick. This is why we must pray and count ourselves worthy. I know people feel like, well, when? When will it happen? You can't be like that. You cannot think like that. Because there are people out there who God knows is going to be in the kingdom, and you don't. He knows every hair on our head, past, present, and future. So we just have to put our trust in Him on that. That the veil is lifted and lifting, I believe. And we are seeing certain things, but it's not. And maybe, hey, if you think that's a test on your faith, whether you should be shook or not when you read these certain articles and you see these certain events, okay, then maybe we ought to be looking back in that mirror and see. Because our trust should be in God no matter what the enemy rerun he keeps repeating, okay? We should just be laughing at the devil. So if I'm laughing at Sanford and Son because I didn't seen it 1,000 times, it's comical to me now. Just like this, it should be comical, but folks will get in disarray. I'm talking about the believers. I ain't talking about the people of the world. And this is that Red Sea moment where they knew they could hear, they could smell, they could feel the rumbling of the Pharaoh's army coming towards them. This is the same moment. Some people in the group in that tribe were faithful. Some were a little bit uneasy, not knowing the faith level that you must have in God to know if He said He got it, He got it. And this is where He said He would get His honor amongst Pharaoh, because I'm going to push it to the brink. And when I do it, God said, I'm going to do it that no man can take praise for it. That's the point where we are, because there's still people who still are not giving God no praise for what they see. It's all the devil. It's Satan this, Satan that. And not knowing that what you could be looking at is something God is doing. No different from the Old Testament to now. Same people still walking the earth. It's just the time on the dial has just fast forwarded. Same thing happening. Okay. What did God say in that moment? He said, I am going to get me honor amongst over Pharaoh. How? Because when I do it, God said, no man can lay claim to it. So if God does it when you want it, then you will lay claim to it. But when God do it, can't nobody lay claim to it. Even the devils have to admit that was God, and they know what's getting ready to happen. So that's where we at, folks. But if we trust and believe that fact, and you are in Revelation 19, verse 14, and you are riding back with Christ, dressed in fine white linen, on a white horse, and he's in front with blood on his vesture, you should know that if your name is on that, then don't stress about when. We know the hour, and the hour is upon us, folks. It's upon us. But I still like in Isaiah 61, talks about the springtime and the harvest. But see, God could do whatever he wants whenever he get ready, because he is sovereign like that. And I think if people start getting twitchy about things, then your comfort and your rest ain't in God then. It's in your own perception of what you see. And the word is clear. We should walk in confidence in him, not by what we can do, but what he can do. So everybody needs to really realize that. And that's why Christ came up and came up to the grave, the sepulcher, okay, of his brother on the 4th day, not the 3rd day. Because if they'd have came when he wanted them to come, it wouldn't have been no sanctification of God, as God had Moses to do when he told Moses to speak to the rock. And he failed, did not sanctify, and got in the flesh and struck the rock twice in front of the children of Israel. So there was no sanctification of God. There was no respect, no reverence of God, since he decided to get in the flesh and go off his own emotion. And that's the point where we are today. Some of us, you got to really back down off of that Moses type, this is beneath me, and struck the rock twice. Water came out. God said, no, if you would have did it the way I told you to do it, because it would have been above man comprehension. How did you speak to the rock and water just came out of it? So that's where we are today. God always got to take man down to the final thread, so that, as he said, I can get me honor against Pharaoh, that no man can claim what happened as they're doing. But God says only he can lay claim to it. That's what's going on here, folks. But if we be comfortable in our faith and in our spirit, you shouldn't be uneasy or at rest, or because that means you got more invested in the forecast of the world and the universe than we do in the forecast of the faith and us being redeemed. Your name is in the book, right? That's what we pray. So if it's in there, don't do nothing ahead of time right now to get it removed out of the book. Because you are doing what David did, counting the people, because of you were thrown off by what Satan stood before David as an opposing threat after David just defeated him. David failed into what was called an abomination, because he went by what he was looking at, not by faith. Are you operating by faith, or are you operating by what you're looking at? What you're looking at should increase your faith. I show you my faith with works, not without. Deuces.